Hello, my name is Matt from paintacademy.com, and today I will show you how to paint female face. I already have painted the basic layer with Pinky Flash from ANDREA. It is just a clean, even layer on the whole skin surface. I like to start with one layer of wash. Sometimes I do two, but I want to add more shadows with regular paint than with wash, so I just started with that, and I'm doing it because it gives me clear understanding where are the deeper areas on the skin, because with basic layer everything looks the same, and even one layer of wash gives you more clear vision. Next thing to do is to apply some basic shadows, and I want to make them really deep because it's small miniature, and when you put her on the tabletop, any high contrast areas will be much more visible. So for the gaming purposes, I'm really aiming at very strong contrast and something that is visible even from larger distance, and it looks good when you look more up close. So it's win-win situation. Usually I'm starting the shadow when the cheekbone starts and ending at the bottom of the jaw. So you should also take into the account when the side her face is turning. So the side is leaning more to the shoulder, it will be darker than the other side, just because the lighting is more on the other side. And as always, I'm trying to do the black lining as soon as possible. Some even basic on partial black lining, because it gives me just more clear vision about which part is what. So I'm doing the line between her cape and her forehead, as well as her eyes. I'm also using the same color as for the black lining for the even more and deeper shadows under her jawline. And it is time to start the highlighting, and I'm highlighting just her at the beginning, just her forehead, her cheekbones and her nose, maybe a little bit of her lips, and I'm trying to separate each step for the video purposes, but in real life it's more like going back and forth, so adding a little bit of highlight, then going back to the shadow, then more highlighting, more shadow highlighting, and there at some point you getting to the result that just satisfies you. So I'm saying it because you may have some different idea how my painting is looking, because I'm just editing the video in this way, which is easier to comprehend at the beginning, but the real life painting looks a little bit different. And one important detail, about highlighting. It's the female model, and that's why I'm doing just a little bit of highlighting around her jawline, because I don't want to emphasize it too much. The highlights should be just below her lips, and maybe just a little bit through the jawline, but you should be really careful with that. It's just with that she will be just looking more feminine if you decide to not going too farther with the highlight there. The mix of pinky flesh and white is strong enough to make the whole contrast on her skin very visible, and it's the final highlight for the skin I usually use. I'm not always going with the shadows as much as on this model, but I'm always ending on the mix of pinky flesh and white. I wouldn't go with plain white because it will be too much, unless the model is very pale and you want to make the effect of unhealthy skin or something like that. The one thing you will probably notice is that I'm not doing the pupils on the model, and it's because I just don't think they are necessary, and it's just the way I'm doing it. And if my clients ask for them, I'm always painting them, but if it's up to me, I'm just leaving it as it is. It's because I think it's the right balance between effort and effect, and if you don't have a lot of practice in this area, you will give them some crazy eyes, and it will probably screw up whole effect on the model, because the face is the first thing you're looking at, and if the model has some crazy look on their face, it just looks strange. And even if they have very nice painted armor, the face will ruin it for everybody. So if you don't feel confident enough, it's totally okay to leave the white eyeballs and call it a day. And that's basically it. I hope you will share the results with me, and if you want to support the channel, check my Patreon, and I see you in the next video. Cheers!